I'm 41 years old and I'm pretty sure I've waited too late to start a small business. That gives a lot of people anxiety because they're like, I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I want to be out there with my friends. So this video is a little bit different than the other videos that I have on my channel, but it's something I've been thinking about, and I really just wanted to put it out into the universe and kind of just go through the thought process that goes through my head and possibly through your head when it comes to starting a small business. I'm 41 years old and I'm pretty sure I've waited too late to start a small business. That's something that I tell myself at least once a week. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of challenges that go into starting a small business, and I've done so much research. I'd like to share some of the research that I've done on my journey, some of the different business models that are out there, the one that I am pursuing at this point in time, some of the thoughts that I am trying to work through that I really want to kind of push through and keep going. But I know that they're there and I need to acknowledge them. And I just want to, like I said, put it out into the universe. Maybe somebody can resonate. Maybe somebody can understand that they're not alone when they think about these things. And, maybe it can just help get it out of here and get it out there. And so I can move past it. So a little bit about me and my background. Like I said, I'm 41 years old. I've obviously been working for a long time, been in the workforce, started out in restaurants, fast food restaurants, sit down restaurants, things like that. Actually made my way all the way from a server all the way up to culinary manager through a corporate restaurant. I spent most of my 20s working my way up the ladder. In my 30s, I actually worked in manufacturing, working my way kind of up the ladder, although that one wasn't exactly planned. That just kind of fell into my lap because I was somebody that had the work ethic, and it just kind of upon myself to that. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm actually in a whole different industry than I was in the previous decades of my life. So that's kind of interesting. But what I've noticed and what I've seen in my years of being in the workforce is I've noticed that when it comes to having a business, having a small business, having a large business, because I've worked for them both. I've worked for little mom and pop places. I've worked in corporate settings multiple times. There's certain things that I've noticed across the board. It may be a generational thing where the elder millennials we're just at a point to where, the American dream was told to us that you're supposed to do this certain thing. And it clearly did not work out that way for a lot of us. And now with us being in our 40s and 50s and things like that, it's just like, okay, so now what? Gotta have the coffee. You gotta have that little boost in the afternoon. So good. Anywho, I've seen the business model from both sides, from being at the bottom to being in the middle management kind of thing, and there's a lot of times that I think to myself, I'm like, I can do this so much better if I had the opportunity. I just feel that I have the knowledge, the wherewithal, and I have so many things that I can bring to the table if given the chance. One of the things that a lot of people do is they're like, I'm going to start a small business. So what do you do first? You go to YouTube University and you start typing in small business videos. At least that's what I did. Small business videos. Okay, so there's about, 15, 11 different types of business models that you can do. You can do print on demand. There's also handmade goods, which is what I am trying to pursue because it really hit home about the overconsumption of just everything in this country, which I live in the US. The overconsumption is just out of this world. And I really just want to try to make a difference with my upcycling journey and using thrifted materials, secondhand materials, dead stock fabrics, things like that to try to give them a second life and give them a chance to not have to go into the landfill. So a lot of people hear the phrase small business and they have a certain idea in their brains. They have the idea of the solopreneur that is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, slaving over this and doing that, and not able to enjoy their life because they're at the demand of their customers and things like that. But they're not working for somebody else. So that's like the American dream. I have watched my fair share of videos about starting small business and the different business models that can be. Like I was saying earlier, there's print on demand, there's handmade, there's digital products, there's drop shipping. There's so many different options out there that somebody could start into. A lot of the things that go into starting a small business can be overwhelming. Everybody talks about starting a website. You want to go into social media marketing, you want to go to in-person marketing, you want to go into an ad strategy. It can be a lot. It can be very overwhelming and intimidating to think about starting a small business. Now, you've got other people that are like, screw that. I'm just going to go gung-ho into it, and I'm not going to do any research, and I'm going to sink or swim. And that's fantastic. You do you. That's one of the things I try to say all the time on my channel. Is one of the struggles that can also affect someone being, intimidated about starting a small business is all of the roles that you have to be if you are working for yourself or you're doing a small business on your own. I mean, basically, you've got to be your own marketing person. You've got to be your web designer. You've got to be the photographer. You've got to be the content creator. If you're doing handmade items, you have to be the actual creator of the item. There's so many different things that go into the whole process of having a small business. And the crazy thing about it is that at one of my previous employers, I essentially created a small business for that person. And when I say started, I mean it started all the way from prototyping, researching, market research, researching designs, things like that. I mean, I went all the way from there up to prototyping, up to programming the machines to run the parts, to the actual finishing process of the parts, to the actual marketing process of the parts, the actual photography and setting up the website with every single item, which I believe it ended up being it was 200 and something different items that I personally took photographs of, did descriptions of, loaded it onto the website, put it live on the website. Those are things that I did. So I know that I have the capability and the knowledge to be able to do that. But even with all of that background, it can still be a lot. It can still be a lot. And one of the things that I think is the biggest one, and the one that I struggle with the most, is going to be imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is basically where you are feeling that you are inadequate. You feel like either your physical item is not good enough, your digital product is not flashy enough, your YouTube video doesn't have enough transitions or enough jazzmatazz in it to be good enough, and therefore you devalue yourself in what you're doing. And that is something that I personally am struggling with and have for a long time. I believe that for me, part of mine is generational and part of mine is cultural. For certain people that were raised in certain backgrounds, there were very strict guidelines that you had to follow. There were very strict regimens that you had to do. If you deviated from this, then you were bad or you were fast. If you know, you know. Or you had to do it, or else you weren't good enough. Nothing that you did was ever good enough. And, that's something that even to this day, at 41 years old, there are still times where it creeps back in. And I have to get it out and tell myself that, yes, I know that I'm good enough, that I can do certain things because I have all of this knowledge and all of this background, and I know that I can do it. I would also say that another thing that holds people back is the what if I fail? What if everything that I put my heart and soul in, all of these hours, all of this time, all of this product, everything that happens. What if I fail and my computer just went to sleep? So let me wake it up so my notes come back up. But something, like I said, that will keep people back and keep people down is the what if all of this time and effort that I put into this, what if it doesn't amount to anything? I've put in 5 years of my very best effort into this one thing, and I still don't have anything to show for it. That gives a lot of people anxiety because they're like, I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I want to be out there with my friends, or I want to be out there with my family, or I want to be traveling to Ireland or Japan or wherever you want to go. What if I fail? What if everything that I put all of these hours and time and effort into, and I've done it for multiple years and nothing happens? So what do we do as somebody that's older than, early 20s, early 30s? What do we do to get over that hump to where we can figure out that, hey, I believe that I can do it. I believe that I can make this small business. I believe that I can succeed with a small business. What do we do to get over that? I pose another question to you, and something that, again, I have to remind myself constantly about all the time is, what if you succeed? What if you put in all of this effort and you put in all of this time and all this energy into something that you are truly passionate about, something that you really enjoy and that you could do it at your core, something that really just brings you like an immense amount of joy, and something that either that you want to do for yourself, something that you want to teach to other people. What if you succeeded? What are the things that you could do if you did win? Whatever business model that you choose to pursue, what if you did succeed? What are some of the things that you could do? What are some of the things that you could achieve that if you did win and that you did succeed? Success is going to look different for everybody. Some people's level of success is being able to maintain their current lifestyle. Some people's version of success is to be a millionaire, a billionaire, however much money, be able to have fancy cars and things like that. Everybody's view of success is going to be different. But what if that level of success was achievable for you and you're able to have financial freedom, which I think is something that everybody, especially right now, in the days that we are in right now, to have financial freedom. What if you're able to do that? What if you were able to have that financial freedom and being able to do something that you really care about versus, just something that pays the bills? Okay, it pays the bills, but then you don't have the energy to do anything else besides work, eat, and sleep, repeat. That's something I remember saying that so much at one of my previous jobs. I was like, it's so monotonous. But yeah, what if you were able to have the opportunity to connect with people all over the world? Hell, not even all over the world. What if you were able to connect with people just in your neighborhood and you were able to express yourself in a way that gave you true joy? I think that would be pretty freaking cool. So one of the things that I'm going to try to do is get into the mindset of I can do it. I can do it. So just to outline some of the things that I am currently doing and some of the things that I want to do for this year, some of the things that I am doing to work towards my goal of actually starting a small business and getting it off the ground is my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, I've been posting consistently every week on this channel since October the 6th of last year. I have grown my channel from, I believe I started at 24 subscribers, and now I'm at 508, I believe, at the recording of this video, which today is February the 25th, 2025. So I have grown my channel. Me staying consistent with this YouTube channel is one of the things that I have done to get closer to my goal. I've also reopened my Etsy store. I had it on vacation for a long time because I was not seeing the growth and the success that I wanted into it, but I was not putting a lot of effort into it. So I did reopen my Etsy store, and I have a lot of different creations on there. There's a little bit of a spaghetti kind of thrown on the wall right now, trying to see which one of my items sticks. This time around with my store, I have not sold anything yet, but I am not giving up on that. I am trying to do my best to post multiple times a week new products that I am crafting here in my little space of home and keep that going. Another thing that I did do, which I probably did it a little preemptively, but I wanted to have a space on the internet that I knew that I owned that nobody else could take. So I did purchase I purchased a domain for 4 years. I purchased a website hosting and all that. So I have my own website. So that is something to where I have like my kind of higher end items on my website, and then I have some other type items on my Etsy store. What I'm hoping is that maybe one day I can have, some traffic fed to my website through there somehow. I don't really know all of the details on that, but opening up my Etsy store was something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm glad that I was able to do that, and that I am putting forth a decent amount of effort. I have a lot of work to do on that, and I do understand that, but I am feeling way more committed and confident in doing that this time around versus before, where it was just like, oh, let me just throw this on there and kind of, go for the best. It's a different type of spaghetti throwing this time, if that makes sense. But yeah, I am doing a lot more planning as well. Like, I have some notebooks in my space that I write down, like, I want to post 3 items to my Etsy store a week. I've been doing more than that. Most weeks I've been doing more than that, but I'm making actual goals, like actionable quantitative goals, not just like I want to grow my YouTube. Like, I want to post 1 video a week consistently, like being more concrete on the small steps to get towards the bigger goal. And so these are things that I'm trying to do my best on every day. I do a little something towards my goals, be it working on SEO on my website, or working on editing photos on an item that I took photos of yesterday or something like that, or just writing some notes down and scripting the next YouTube video, or maybe something like going through my little block book and figuring out like what block that I want to do for the next week. But yeah, I say all of these things to say that I don't think that it's too late, for real. I just have to keep telling myself that and keep assuring myself at least once a week that I can do this. I know that I can do this, and I just have to keep going. There's so many different videos and so many different little memes and so many different little cartoons, like the one with the guy that's mining, and he's like, he stops right before he gets to all the diamonds and he turns around, and it's like, you just got to keep going. And I know that I just got to keep going. I need to put myself out there, tell the world that I exist. I am here. I am doing these upcycled products, and I know the quality is good, and I know that I can do it. And I would love to hear your thoughts on starting a small business. If you've had a business for a long time, or if you're like on the fence about starting one because of age or demographic or anything like that, leave me a comment on your experiences about starting a small business, or if you have any tips or tricks that could help those of us that are at the beginning, the very beginning of our journey, yeah, leave some comments below. I would love to hear your stories, and I would love to hear your feedback and insights on any of the things that I've talked about in this video. But like I said, I know it's a little bit different than what I usually put out, but it's definitely something that's been on my mind. Anywho, if you've gotten this far in the video, I just want to say I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much for watching. I would love if you hit that subscribe button. Again, I usually do sewing tutorials, but I do sprinkle in some little things about life in my early 40s and things like that. So I'd love to have you here. And yeah, thank you again. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time.